Imagine a city where the sky is always gray. Not the soft gray of a cloudy morning, but a heavy, dirty gray. The kind that comes from 1,000 chimneys burning coal all day and all night. This is Varenholm, a city of steam and stone. A city where your last name tells everyone everything about you. Who you are, where you belong, and how much your dreams are worth. At the bottom of this city, in the poorest streets, lives a boy named Leo. Leo is 16 years old. His coat has 3 holes in it. His boots are too small. And most days, he goes to sleep hungry. But every single morning, before the sun comes up, Leo does one thing. He draws. He does not have paper. Paper costs money. He does not have pencils. Pencils cost money too. So Leo uses a piece of charcoal. A black, burnt piece of coal he finds near the factory walls. And he draws on whatever surface he can find. Old bricks. Broken wood. Sometimes, the walls of his own tiny room. But these are not simple drawings. They are buildings. Towers. Bridges. Structures so tall and so beautiful that they seem impossible. Lines so clean and so perfect that even a trained eye would stop and stare. Leo has never been to school. Not a real school. But he watches. He watches the builders carry stone. He watches the engineers measure distances. He watches the great towers of Varenholm rise from the ground, floor by floor, and he understands things. Things that take other people years to learn. Things that come to him as naturally as breathing. His full name is Leonardo Ashvale. And the name Ashvale used to mean something in this city. 100 years ago, the Ashvale family were great architects. They built the Eastern Bridge. They designed the Grand Library. Their name was on buildings that people still walk through every single day. But that was 100 years ago. Now, the Ashvale name means nothing. Less than nothing. Because 50 years ago, there was a fire. A terrible fire that destroyed the family workshop, the family home, and everything inside it. The cause of the fire was never fully known. But people talked. They always talk. And the story that spread through Varenholm was that the Ashvales were careless. Reckless. That they destroyed their own legacy with their own hands. After the fire, the family fell apart. Generation by generation, they lost everything. The money. The connections. The respect. Until one day, there was only Leo. A boy with a famous last name that opened no doors. A boy who carried the weight of a fallen house on his thin, hungry shoulders. Leo does not talk about the fire. He does not let himself think about it. But at night, when the smell of coal smoke drifts through his window, he wakes up. Heart pounding. Hands shaking. Seeing flames that are not there. This fear lives inside him like a stone in his chest. Always heavy. Always present. One cold morning, Leo is drawing on the wall behind the old bakery. A tower design. 14 stories tall, with a spiral staircase visible from the outside, wrapped around the building like a ribbon. He is so focused that he does not hear the footsteps behind him. Where did you learn to do that? Leo spins around. Standing there is a woman in a deep blue coat. Expensive. Clean. She is perhaps 40 years old, with sharp eyes that miss nothing. She is looking at Leo's drawing on the wall. Not with disgust. Not with pity. With genuine interest. Leo does not answer. He takes a step back. People from the upper city do not come to this street. Not unless they want something. My name is Isabella, the woman says. Duchess of Calverton. She pauses. And I have been looking for someone like you for a very long time. Leo stares at her. He does not know what to say. He does not know what to think. But for the first time in his life, someone is looking at him. Not at his torn coat. Not at his dirty hands. Not at his famous, useless last name. They are looking at his work. And that changes everything. The Duchess Isabella does not waste time. The very next morning, she sends a carriage to Leo's street. A real carriage. Dark wood and brass wheels. The kind Leo has only ever seen passing through from a distance. The driver does not speak. He simply opens the door and waits. Leo almost does not get in. He stands on the street for a long moment, his charcoal still in his hand, his heart beating fast. He thinks about his mother, who told him before she died, "Trust your hands, not strangers." He thinks about every person who ever looked at him like he was nothing. Then he thinks about the drawing on the bakery wall. The tower. 14 stories. The spiral staircase. He gets in the carriage. Isabella's home is in the Upper District of Varenholm. And Upper District is not just a name. It is literally higher. Built on a hill, above the smoke and the noise. The streets are clean here. The buildings are tall and white and proud. People walk slowly because they have no reason to rush. Isabella meets Leo in her private study. The room is full of books and rolled paper and architectural drawings pinned to every wall. Leo cannot help himself. He immediately walks to the nearest drawing and begins to examine it. Do you see the problem? Isabella asks from behind him. Leo points to the foundation design. This column placement. If the ground shifts even a little, the whole left side becomes unstable. Isabella smiles. The man who drew that has 20 years of experience. Then he should know better, Leo says. And then he realizes he just criticized a professional architect in front of a duchess. He turns, ready to apologize. But Isabella is still smiling. She explains the situation simply. In Varenholm, there is a law. Any architect who wishes to participate in royal or civic design competitions must be a registered member of the Architects Guild. And to join the guild, you must have a sponsor who is already a guild member, pay an entrance fee of 500 gold coins, and prove noble blood going back at least 2 generations. 500 gold coins. Leo earns 2 silver coins a day carrying stones at a construction site. It would take him more than 600 years to save that much. Noble blood. The Ashvale name is old enough. But the records were lost in the fire. Leo has no papers. No proof. Nothing. The guild exists to protect talent, Isabella says, her voice carrying a quiet bitterness. That is what they say. But what it really does is keep talent out. Anyone who threatens the position of the men already inside. She tells Leo about the Royal Tower competition. Every 10 years, the king announces a competition to design the most significant new building in Varenholm. This year, the prize is the commission to design the new Royal Tower, the tallest building the city has ever attempted. 40 stories. A symbol of Varenholm's power for the next century. The winner gets fame. The winner gets wealth. The winner gets their name on a building that will stand for 1,000 years. I want to enter you in this competition, Isabella says. Leo is quiet for a moment. I am not in the guild. No, but I am. She leans forward. I was once. before they removed me for suggesting that the entrance requirements were unjust. She pauses. But I still have friends inside. And I know ways. This is when Leo first hears the name Baron Voss. Baron is the current leader of the guild. A tall, elegant man with a wide smile and cold eyes. He has won the Royal Tower competition twice before. His buildings stand in the best parts of the city. He is admired, celebrated, and feared. Isabella lowers her voice. There are stories about his early work, that the first designs he submitted were not entirely his own, that he took ideas from younger architects who had no power to stop him. Leo listens. He files this information away quietly, in the same part of his mind where he stores measurements and weight calculations. Useful. Potentially very useful. Over the next weeks, Leo begins working in Isabella's study. She gives him paper. Real paper. She gives him proper drawing tools. Rulers. Compasses. Fine ink. The first time Leo holds a clean sheet of white paper and a real pen, his hand shakes a little. Then it steadies. And he begins to draw. What comes out of him in those weeks surprises even Isabella. Leo does not just design a tall building. He designs a living building. A tower where the steam pipes are not hidden but celebrated, woven into the design like veins in a body. Where the alchemical lift systems are visible through glass panels so passengers can watch the machinery as they rise. Where the lowest floors are open to all citizens, not just those with money or title. It is not just a tower, Isabella says one evening, looking at his finished drawings. It is a statement. Leo looks at his work. 40 stories. His name on every page. He allows himself, just for one moment, to imagine it real. Standing in the sky above Varenholm. Above the smoke. Above the poverty. Above everything that ever told him he was nothing. Then he rolls the drawings carefully, ties them with string, and locks them in Isabella's cabinet. He does not know yet that someone else is watching. Leo has a routine now. Every morning, he walks from the lower city to Isabella's study. He draws until his hand aches. He eats a real meal, something Isabella quietly arranges without making a big moment of it. Then he walks home through the smoky streets, past the factories and the tired faces, and he feels something he has not felt in a very long time. He feels like he is moving forward. But Varenholm is a city where everyone watches everyone else, especially in the upper district. Servants talk. Carriage drivers talk. And the guild has eyes in places that ordinary people do not expect. Baron Voss first hears about Leo through a servant in Isabella's household. The report is small, unimportant on its surface. A young man from the lower city coming and going from the Duchess's study, carrying rolled papers, staying for hours. For most people, this information means nothing. For Baron Voss, it means everything. Baron is not stupid. He did not reach his position through stupidity. He reached it through a very particular talent. Not for designing buildings, but for identifying talent in others, and then making sure that talent served him. He arranges a meeting with Leo. Not directly. That would be too obvious. Instead, he sends an invitation through a junior guild member. A polite letter. An offer of tea at the guild headquarters. A chance, the letter suggests, for a young man of obvious ability to discuss his future. Leo looks at the letter for a long time. He shows it to Isabella. Her face changes when she reads it. Do not go, she says immediately. If I don't go, he will become more curious, Leo says. More suspicious. Isabella starts to respond, then stops, because she knows Leo is right. So Leo goes. The guild headquarters is one of the most impressive buildings in Varenholm. 3 stories of white marble, gold lettering above the entrance. Inside, the ceilings are high and the carpets are thick and everything is designed to make you feel small. Baron Voss meets Leo in a private meeting room. He is exactly as Isabella described. Tall, elegant, perfectly dressed. His smile arrives before he speaks and stays after he stops. He pours the tea himself, which is a gesture of false warmth, and he asks Leo questions. Polite questions. Friendly questions. Questions about where Leo learned to draw, what styles he admires, what kinds of structures interest him most. Leo answers carefully. He gives real answers, but small ones. Enough to seem open. Not enough to reveal anything important. Then Baron leans back in his chair and says, very casually, I understand you have been working on something. Something significant. Leo keeps his face still. I draw every day. It is how I think. Of course. Baron smiles. I do the same. He pauses. You know, the Royal Tower competition is coming. A young man with your instincts could benefit greatly from the right association. The right name attached to his work. There it is. Leo hears it clearly. Underneath the polite words, the offer is simple. Give me your designs. I will put my name on them. You will receive a small credit, perhaps a position as a junior assistant, and the protection of my reputation. And if Leo refuses, the guild will make sure he never works in Varenholm. Not officially. Not with any serious client. Not ever. Leo looks at Baron Voss and smiles. That is very generous, he says. I will think about it. He leaves the guild headquarters and walks quickly back to Isabella's house. That night, he does not sleep. He lies in his small room in the lower city and stares at the ceiling and thinks. He thinks about the fire. He was 6 years old when it happened. He remembers the heat before the flames. The way the air itself seemed to change, to tighten, just before everything went wrong. He remembers running. He remembers the sound of the building falling behind him. He has spent 10 years trying not to think about that night. But now, lying in the dark, he lets himself remember one specific thing. One detail he has never told anyone. Before the fire started, he heard voices. Adult voices arguing. And then silence. And then the smell of smoke. The fire was not an accident. Leo has always known this, somewhere deep and quiet inside him. He just never had a reason to look closer. Until now. The next morning, Leo goes to Isabella and tells her everything about the meeting with Baron. Then he asks her a question she does not expect. How old is Baron Voss? Isabella thinks. 60 perhaps. 62. And his first competition win. How long ago was that? 50 years, roughly. He was very young. It made him famous overnight. Leo is quiet for a moment. Then he says, 50 years ago. The same year as the Ashvale fire. Isabella goes very still. I need to see his original submission drawings, Leo says. From that first competition. Those are locked in the guild archive, Isabella says slowly. I know, says Leo. But you said you still have friends inside. Isabella looks at him for a long moment. The expression on her face is complex. There is fear there, and sadness. And underneath both of those things, something that looks very much like hope. "Give me 3 days," she says. The drawings arrive on the 3rd day. Isabella's contact inside the guild takes a significant personal risk to copy them. They are old documents, yellowed at the edges, the ink slightly faded. But the lines are still clear. And Leo, who has spent his entire life studying how people draw, who understands that every architect has a personal language in their lines, their angles, their proportions, takes one look at these 50-year-old drawings and feels the stone in his chest grow heavier. He knows these drawings, not because he has seen them before, but because they are drawn in a language he recognizes. The same instinct for weight and balance. The same unusual approach to staircase design. The same small habit of placing a tiny reference mark in the lower left corner of each page. These drawings were made by an Ashvale. Leo sits down. He breathes slowly. He looks at the drawings again, carefully, page by page. And piece by piece, a story assembles itself in his mind. A young Baron Voss. A talented family of architects. A private meeting, perhaps, where a young man sees work that is not his own and understands immediately that it is better than anything he could produce. And then a fire. Convenient. Permanent. Destroying the evidence and the people who could speak against him in a single night. Leo does not have proof. Not the kind that would hold in a court. Documents can be questioned. Old drawings can be disputed. And Baron Voss has 50 years of power and connections and carefully maintained reputation protecting him. But Leo has something else. He has his own drawings. 40 stories of original, undeniable, extraordinary work. And he has one more idea. He goes to Isabella and lays out his plan. The Royal Tower competition has one final stage that most people consider a formality. After the Guild reviews all submitted designs and selects 3 finalists, those finalists present their work directly to the king. In person. In the Royal Hall. Before the court. This presentation has historically been handled by the lead architect and 1 or 2 senior guild representatives. It is formal, controlled, scripted almost. The guild decides what is said and how it is said. But there is a very old rule in the competition bylaws. A rule so old that most people have forgotten it exists. Any registered finalist has the right to present personally to the king, without guild representatives present, if they formally request it. If my design reaches the final 3, Leo says, I can request a solo presentation. Isabella stares at him. The guild will fight it. They cannot. The rule is older than the guild itself. It comes from the original royal charter. They will find another way to stop you. Then we have to move faster than they do. Leo pauses. There is one more thing. At the presentation, I will not just show the tower. I will show everything. The old drawings. The connection to my family. The truth about where Baron's first designs came from. The room is quiet for a moment. You will be making an accusation in front of the king, Isabella says carefully. Without legal proof. I will be presenting evidence and asking a question, Leo says. The king can decide what it means. This could destroy you. I am a boy from the lower city with no guild membership, no noble papers, and no money, Leo says. There is not much left to destroy. Isabella is quiet for a long time. Outside the window, the coal smoke rises into the gray sky. Somewhere below, in the streets Leo grew up in, other children are learning what it means to be invisible. "All right," she says finally. "But there is one condition." She looks at him steadily. "The tower design. The presentation. All of it must be entirely yours. I will open the doors, but you must walk through them yourself." Leo nods. He understands. This has always been his to carry. He spends the next 4 weeks doing nothing but work. He refines every detail of the tower design. He writes his presentation. He practices speaking out loud, which is harder than he expected. Drawing is a private language. Words in front of powerful people are something different entirely. There are moments, late at night, when the fear comes. Not of Baron Voss, not of the guild, but the old fear, the fire fear. He thinks about standing in the royal hall, in front of hundreds of people, with torches burning on every wall. He thinks about the heat, the smell of smoke, his hands shaking. He practices breathing through it. He draws through it. On the night before the submission deadline, Leo sits alone in Isabella's study. He looks at his finished drawings spread across the table. Every page clean, every line precise. His name, Leonardo Ashvale, written carefully in the corner of each one. He thinks about the boy who drew on bakery walls with a piece of charcoal. He picks up his pen, and in the lower left corner of the front page, next to his name, he adds one small mark. The same reference mark he saw on the old Ashvale drawings. The one that had been copied unknowingly into Baron Voss's stolen work 50 years ago. A signature. A connection. A quiet declaration that the Ashvale line is not finished. Then he ties the drawings with string, hands them to Isabella's courier, and goes home to sleep. The royal hall is everything Leo imagined and nothing like he expected. He imagined the size. He knew the dimensions. He had studied the architectural plans of this building the way other boys study maps of treasure. He knew the ceiling was 30 meters high. He knew the columns were 2 meters wide. He knew the floor was white marble from the eastern quarries. But he did not know how it would feel to stand inside it. It feels like being swallowed. The hall is full. Every guild member. Every noble family of significance. Members of the royal court in their finest clothes. And at the far end, on a raised platform, the king of Varenholm. An older man with tired eyes and a straight back, the kind of man who has spent decades listening to people tell him what he wants to hear. There are 3 finalists. 2 are senior guild architects with long careers and powerful sponsors. Their presentations are polished and professional. Beautiful buildings, competently explained. The audience nods. The king listens. Then Leo's name is called. He walks to the center of the hall. He is wearing the best clothes Isabella could find for him on short notice. They fit reasonably well. His hands are clean. His drawings are under his arm, rolled carefully, tied with the same simple string he always uses. The hall is very quiet. He can smell the torches, burning oil and hot metal. The smell reaches something deep and old inside him, and his heart begins to beat faster. He sees, for just a moment, the edges of an old memory. Orange light. Falling walls. He breathes. Slowly. Once. Twice. He looks at the king. And he begins. "Your Majesty, my name is Leonardo Ashvale. I am not a member of the guild. I did not pay 500 gold coins to stand here. I have no noble sponsor presenting me, because the Duchess of Calverton was removed from the guild for suggesting that talent should matter more than title. A sound moves through the hall. Not quite a gasp. Not quite silence. Something in between. Leo continues. His voice is steady. He has practiced this. He knows every word. I grew up in the lower city. I learned to draw on bakery walls with pieces of charcoal. I have studied every significant building in Varenholm without ever being allowed inside most of them. And I have designed a tower that I believe is worthy of this city. Not the city as it is, but the city it could become. He unrolls his drawings. His assistants, 2 young men Isabella arranged, hold the large pages open for the hall to see. The design is extraordinary. Even people who know nothing about architecture can feel it. There is something in the proportions, in the way the tower seems to rise naturally from its base like a living thing, that speaks directly to something human. Something that wants to look up. The king leans forward slightly. Just slightly. But Leo notices. He explains the design clearly. Simply. He uses words that a child could understand, because he remembers being a child who understood these things and had no one to talk to about them. He talks about how the steam systems work, how the alchemical lifts will function, how the open lower floors will allow any citizen of Varenholm to walk inside and feel that this building belongs to them. Then he pauses. There is one more thing I must show you. He nods to his assistants. They bring forward a second set of drawings. Older. Yellowed. These are architectural drawings from 50 years ago, submitted to this same competition by a man who won first place and used that victory to build one of the most powerful careers in the history of this guild. Leo's voice remains calm. The man who won with these drawings is in this hall today. Baron Voss, standing near the left wall, goes completely still. His expression does not change, but his hands, Leo notices, close slowly into fists. I am not here to destroy anyone, Leo says. I am here to build something. But I believe this court deserves to know that the family whose work built this man's reputation was my family, and that they did not choose to give that work away. He lays the old drawings beside his new ones. Side by side. The connection is visible to anyone who looks. The same hand. The same language. 50 years apart. The hall is completely silent. The king looks at the drawings for a long time. Then he looks at Baron Voss. Then he looks at Leo. You are aware, the king says finally, his voice quiet and precise, that this is a significant claim. Yes, Your Majesty. And you make it here, in this hall, under your full name. Leonardo Ashvale. Yes, Your Majesty. The king is quiet for another moment. Then something happens that no one in the hall expects. He almost smiles. Show me the foundation plans, he says. For the tower. And just like that, the presentation continues. What happens after that day takes months to fully unfold. The king does not make dramatic declarations in the hall. He is not that kind of king. But he is the kind of king who asks careful questions and remembers the answers. An independent inquiry into the guild's archive records is quietly ordered. Baron Voss retires from his position before the inquiry is complete, citing health reasons. No one believes him. No one says so publicly. But no one needs to. Leo wins the competition. He is 20 years old on the day the king signs the commission. He stands in Isabella's study, holding the official document with the royal seal, and he does not know whether to laugh or cry. He does neither. He sits down at the drawing table, picks up his pen, and begins to make notes on the construction timeline. There is work to do. The tower takes 6 years to build. Leo is on the construction site almost every day. He learns things during those 6 years that no drawing can teach. The feel of stone under your hands. The way a building breathes when the temperature changes. The sound a structure makes when it settles correctly into its foundation. He also learns how to lead people. How to explain his vision to workers who have spent their lives following other people's instructions. How to listen when someone on the ground floor sees a problem that he missed from the top. On the day the tower is completed, Leo stands at the very top. 40 stories above Varenholm. Above the coal smoke. Above the gray streets where he grew up. Above everything. The city below him is the same city it always was. The same problems. The same distances between rich and poor. He knows that one building does not change all of that. But he looks down at the lowest floors, the open public floors, and he sees people there. Ordinary people. Workers and children and old men and women who have never in their lives stood inside a building this beautiful. And they're looking up, following the spiral staircase with their eyes, floor by floor, all the way to the sky. He thinks about a boy with a piece of charcoal and a bakery wall. He thinks about his family name, the weight of it. And how weight in architecture is not always a problem to be solved. Sometimes it is the very thing that holds a structure together, that keeps it standing when everything around it shakes. True nobility, Leo thinks, is not something you are born into. It is something you build. Line by line, stone by stone, choice by choice. It is visible in what you leave behind. In what you make possible for the people who come after you. He looks up. Above the tower, the sky is still gray. But it is closer now.